Marcelo Papa has joined us for an evening with Concha y Toro wines and some international wines to look at how Chilean terroir compares with great terroirs from around the world. For Cabernet, what we've done is we thought it would be very interesting to look at alluvial soils in Napa Valley, in Bordeaux, and in Chile.
Right.
And I know that where your Marques Cabernet comes from is in Puente Alto, which is sort of a wash of gravel from the Maipo River on the north bank.
Yes.
And it's where Almaviva is, it's where Dom Melchor is.
Chadwick.
Yes. And it's probably one of the top sites for Cabernet in Chile, if not the top site for Cabernet.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So what makes it such a great site for Cabernet?
I think that, Josh, two very important aspects. One is it's the weather condition of the area, because we are in the coolest, one of the coolest area in Maipo region, because vineyards are located at 650, 700 meters over the sea level. So, I mean, more or less 2,000 feet.
2,000 feet,
So
it's very high.
Very high.
And it's not far from the sea, really. When you think about it, it's not that far from the sea to be this high up.
Right, exactly. So we got in summertime nice temperatures of 30, 28, as maximum temperature 31. So never 34, 35, never that. So we never cook the flavors, and other thing is that the temperatures in the morning go down a lot. We get minimums in summertime of 9, 10 Celsius. So that split, I think, is very important to achieve color, cassis flavors, and all that. And the other aspect, which is very important, is the soil. That we are on the highest part of the foothills, and probably in the first part, close to the Andes Mountain, with a good slope. Now, when you see it, it's almost flat.
It actually doesn't look like a slope, but it's a very mild slope.
Right, it's minor slope. And you need to imagine million years ago when the river, the Maipo River, passed and originate the soil, the water passed faster. Not faster, but with a good speed.
There was some flooding going on.
Right, exactly. So the water leaves time to settle just the rocks and the sand. After kilometers down on the Buin appellation, where is Santa Rita, or even down, the river it's more flat. So it leaves time to sediment clay. So the beauty of this wine is alluvial, but alluvial driving by sand and rock, not clay. This soil probably has 4, 3, 5% of clay, no more. Which is very important to define the Cabernet. Cabernet is a Cabernet from clay or a Cabernet from sand.
What's interesting is that this wine shows often as great as many of the very expensive wines from Chile.
I don't have any problem to put in a blind tasting and do it.
But we're putting it up against some very expensive wines from other places, but these are similar situations with rivers and rock.
Right.
So let's taste this wine and see.
This is mostly Cabernet, Josh. It's about 92% Cabernet. The rest is the Cabernet Franc. A little bit of Carmener has 3-4%, and Petit Verdot is about 1%.
What I've always loved about Alto Maipo Cabernet is the floral aspect of it.
Yeah.
Especially when it's young, it has a very beautiful red fruited character and very floral character.
Yeah.
And you can see a little bit of the floral character in this wine.
Yeah. Remember that it was a cool year.
Yeah.
So that floral character, it's slightly higher.
Yeah.
It's a kind of a violet or that things, and but also it's on the limit of cassis. It's cassis and violet. So that area, Puente Alto, I think that never deliver very ripe black fruit.
No.
It's very difficult to find.
Yeah.
Like Cabernet, like a bomb. I think Cabernet needs to be gentle.
I think we should go to the Bordeaux first and then to the California wine.
Okay, let's go.
Chateau Pichon-Longueville, Comtesse de la Langue. Again, the shape of the wine is very different, but the tannin, it shares something in the tannin.
Quite close.
Yeah.
It's a kind of firm tannins, but also gentle.
I mean, this is a much more elegant wine. I'm sorry.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
It's quite delicious.
Yeah,
but it's interesting how the tannins do have a character that is in some ways similar.
Right. The Marques, of course, it's an area that we have a little bit more sun. So also the tannins are a little bit more sweet and round. But in terms of the structure, it's pretty similar.
Now this is a very special wine from Napa Valley, from again a gravel terroir, gravelly meadow at Diamond Creek.
I think that the tannins on the first two are rounded and softer.
Yeah.
I think that this one, the structure of the tannins are more different
Than
these two.
Yeah.
Right.
And I would agree with that. I've always thought that the top vineyards in Chile were much more similar to Bordeaux than to Napa.
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
I think that this is probably the most, when I think about vineyards in Napa that could be like a vineyard in Chile, this is probably the most like it, because the Diamond Creek wines are very elegant for Napa.
Right.
But they are still much, much bigger than most wines in Chile.
It's much bigger than Chilean. Well, you know that you need to. It's if you move in Chile to the Marchihue area or Cauquenes area, you start to get that type of black fruit, that Napa fruit. So but Maipo, it's outside of that reality. So it's interesting, very interesting. I always like cool harvest than warm harvest for Alto Maipo. Because with the heat, we have a lot of sun. Yeah. So if we have a lot of temperature,
and you also have a lot of the sun has much more direct power because the air is so clear.
The air is so clear, and don't forget we are in parallel 32.
Yeah.
So we are closer. And here you are in 37, and Bordeaux is 40, 44. 44. So the intensity of the light is different. So for that reason, and we are very close to the Andes Mountains, so the air is very clear, and the sunlight is direct. So for that reason, I like cooler years, because we don't cook, we don't burn the fruit, and we, in my point of view, Cabernet, it's all about Cabernet is to try to get that cassis and that freshness. 3 great areas, driving by the rocks, by the sand, by the alluvial structure.
Cabernet and rock.
Yeah. Cabernet and rock, Cabernet and alluvial, which is a beautiful thing.
Great.
So thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you very much for coming to San Francisco.